Welcome to the Parlous world of drones, a parallel universe existing all around us about which we know little or nothing. When most people think of drones, unless they've had an up-close and personal relationship with an unmanned aerial vehicle, a UAV, they usually visualize the military kind, the kind that in the 21st century has changed the nature of war. But this is the kind of drone that's crowding airspace around the world. Drones are very easy to set up and they're very easy to fly, and the solid-state cameras on board can send streaming live video to the operator or high-quality still images. Have a drone like this, you also have a career, because drones have found their way into so many aspects of modern life. The University of North Dakota has already graduated a class with bachelor degrees in unmanned systems, and in Daytona, Florida, the Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University offers an MBA course in drone warfare. But drones are as busy these days as the bees for which they're named. Cinematographers use drones where they used to use helicopters, save a lot of money, get really exciting shots. Law enforcement is using drones in so many ways. Realtors are showing their prize estates by drone footage. Surveyors get more precise measurements of properties with drones. Utility companies use drones with high-definition footage where men once were exposed to extreme danger. Drones have proved valuable for agriculture. The New York City Fire Department has a $85,000 custom-built drone that rolls whenever there's a fire more than 2 alarms. And Walmart not only sells drones, but they use them inside their vast warehouses to check on stock. One of the most exciting potentials for drones is the delivery of packages. And the best telling of this story comes from Sydney, Australia, where the startup, Flirty, is already delivering packages on a regular basis and has recently established a partnership with the University of Nevada in Reno. But let the two guys who started the company tell their story. That would be Ahmed Haider, who is the co-founder and CEO, and Matthew Sweeney, who is the co-founder.
One of the main services that we provide is the rental of textbooks, which was very innovative when we came out with it in Australia. It's now grown to a multi-billion-dollar industry in the US, and it's starting to develop in Southeast Asia, and Zookla is really leading the way in that charge.
I've always personally thought that there are 3 industries that are going to transform the world within the next 5 years: unmanned aerial vehicle technology, 3D printing, and whoever can figure out the future of online news. And so Flirty is the world's first unmanned aerial vehicle delivery technology. We're taking technology that was only previously available to the military and to universities, democratizing it and commercializing it so that anybody can order any goods or services and have them flown straight to their smartphone.
We spoke to a number of consultants about helping making freight a lot more innovative and faster and easier. I mean, anyone that's ever dealt with post will probably understand what a frustration it can be when you've got a note at your house and you have to go somewhere to pick up a book or a parcel. We thought there had to be a better way to be able to do this, and I think Flirty really solves that by cutting down that shipping time from 2 to 3 days down to 2 to 3 minutes.
Currently in Australia, same-day delivery by post costs $8 to $20. By Flirty, it will cost a fraction of that, and the consumer won't have to cover it because it'll be in the marketing budget of the companies that we partner with. If you want to order a textbook, you order it from your smartphone using the Flirty app. A Zook will packages the textbook and it flies to you.
It's got built-in collision avoidance technology to look out for things such as birds, towers, wind, etc. But it's also a completely autonomous system that uses the GPS on the user's phone so they can see it as it arrives.
In terms of safety, that's our top priority. So we've built the Flirty as a hexacopter so it can lose any one rotor and still fly. It can lose any one battery and still fly. So we're putting safety first in order to deliver the world's first textbooks by UAV.
When the Flirty arrives to its location, it actually levitates above the location and lowers the parcel to the consumer. If there is anyone that pulls it a little bit too hard, then the parcel comes off, keeping the Flirty completely secure and ready to go.
The Civil Aviation Safety Authority in Australia was actually one of the first in the world to legalise commercial flights by unmanned aerial vehicle. And they did it years ago, so it was really forward thinking of them. So what we have is an enormous opportunity to get this technology right in order to be able to export it all around the world.
The way we see the future is that commercial drones are going to become as ubiquitous as aeroplanes are in the sky right now. I mean, initially when I would have proposed the idea of putting people into these steel casings and flying them all across the world, across houses, etc., people would have thought that was crazy, and it probably was, but now you look up in the sky and planes are seen as normal.
Flirty has the support of the Warren Centre for Advanced Engineering at the University of Sydney, which is one of the leading engineering organisations in the Southern Hemisphere, and they're supporting a concept demonstration of a textbook delivery on campus of the university. But it's more than that, because the Warren Centre is leading the development of a protocol for voluntary industry conduct so that we can actually engage with community, with people concerned about privacy and safety. So it's not just the companies leading the charge. Flirty's vision is to fly. So anything that you want flown to you, it will deliver.
On July 17, 2015, Flirty made history with the first successful commercial package delivery in the USA. There goes the package, and you'll see it being received by its intended recipient on the ground in Reno, Nevada. And then the rig that took it down comes bouncing back to the drone. In Russia, Dodo Pizza has been delivering pies to isolated customers by drone for 5 years. On December 7, 2016, 3 years of research and experimentation paid off for Amazon when they were able to do their first drone delivery to a client in central England in Cambridgeshire. 13 minutes after he placed his order by cell phone, he had his Amazon Fire Stick and a bag of popcorns, and the only human element in the transaction was the warehouse employee who placed those objects in the box attached to the drone. Amazon has also been granted a U.S. patent for a flying warehouse, a dirigible type aircraft that will hover over large market areas and be able to deliver packages from a place in the sky. But the most exciting story in drone delivery is taking place in Africa, in the tiny country of Rwanda, one of the smallest on the continent and one of the poorest in the world. Its area of 10,106 square miles is about the size of the American state of Maryland, and it has a population of 11,609,000 in 2016. But tiny Rwanda has made history as the first nation on Earth to have a fully functioning drone network, thanks to an $800,000 grant from UPS, the world's largest deliverer of parcels, and with technical input from California startup Zipline International. It is now possible for blood plasma and medications to be delivered to 21 small hospitals or clinics dotted around the country. In a nation where the life expectancy in the 21st century is only 47 years, this is saving lives because these fixed-wing UAVs are able to do as many as 151 round trips per day. As long as we're on the continent of Africa, why don't we move down to South Africa, where another exciting use has been found for drones. The government of South Africa now uses unmanned aerial vehicles not only to track the movements of the wild beasts, but also to spot the poachers who are promiscuously shooting these protected species for some small part of their anatomy. Drones are relatively inexpensive, they're easy to fly, and they're pervasive now, a multi-billion-dollar business that covers the globe. Browsing the web, we found more than 200 special events during 2016, ranging from trade shows, conferences, drone races, including the first $1 million prize drone race in Dubai in 2016. All kinds of special events, and involving even the tiniest countries. In the United States, the Federal Aviation Administration administers the sky and promulgates safety rules, safety regulations. They estimated that in 2015, 700,000 drones were sold in the U.S., and by the end of 2017, they calculate that 600,000 business drones will be registered. No one knows for sure how many recreational drones are crowding the skies of America or other big cities around the world. You can buy them anywhere from $30 all the way, the sky's the limit, to beautifully crafted, sophisticated machines with high-definition cameras that can turn out video of motion picture quality. You can go from Toys R Us with a $30 drone, which weighs the equal of 2 sticks of butter or half a pound. It's a very sophisticated toy, and it is also very addictive. When you fly one of these, you want to keep flying it. It's a lot of fun. All the way to Bloomingdale's, the upscale department store, which actually had a Father's Day special. Tech, please. Treat Dad to futuristic gifts like Galileo drone with 2 streaming video capability, because he deserves cool new toys. On December 21, 2015, the Federal Aviation Administration released its new set of regulations for recreational drones, and that raises the question, do I need to register my drone? The FAA says if your drone weighs between a half a pound, equal to 2 sticks of butter, all the way up to 55 pounds, equal to 11 5-pound bags of potatoes, you have to register it. If you're registering a recreational drone, you can do it online. Go to faa.gov. You'll find a form there to fill in, and you can pay the $5 3-year fee with your credit card. You will be issued a registration number which must be attached somewhere on your drone. You will also be able to download a registration certificate, which is similar to an automobile registration and must be carried at all times when you are flying your drone. If you don't register, the FAA cannot come after you. That wouldn't be doable. But if your drone is involved in an accident or a criminal activity and they catch you, the minimum fine could be $27,500 up to $250,000, and there could be a jail sentence in there somewhere. So the best thing to do is to go online and register your drone. But if you're registering a drone for commercial uses, that cannot be done online. You have to do that with the FAA's traditional paper system. And pilots of commercial drones have to take an FAA test to certify that they're competent to fly an unmanned aerial vehicle. You will be given a set of common sense safety rules stressing that you may not fly within 5 miles of an airport, more than 400 feet high, and preferably in line of sight. But regulations are for law-abiding people, and there is ample evidence all over the world that many drone flyers disregard these obvious safety rules. The FAA has been recording an average of 25 sightings by commercial pilots per week in the US, and around the world the same problem exists. For instance, in Stockholm, Sweden, If a drone is seen in prohibited territory around an airport, all activity on that airport comes to an immediate halt, and if the drone pilot is found, the penalty is quite severe. London's Heathrow is one of the busiest airports in the world and also sees more drone near misses than any place in the world. It has the distinction of being the only airport where a drone actually hit a jetliner. That was on April 17, 2016, where a British Airways flight coming in from Geneva was struck by a toy drone well above the 400-foot limit and well within the 5 miles of the airport. Drones have also caused a problem in the far west of the United States, where their pilots fly in to get still photos or videos of wildfires and endanger the lives of the pilots who are dropping fire retardant chemicals or water. When a drone is sighted, all activity with the firefighting aircraft comes to a halt. Among its regulations, the FAA does not require that a recreational drone pilot have insurance, but you wouldn't take your car on the highway without liability and accident insurance, and you shouldn't fly your drone without coverage. Contact your insurance man or woman and find out whether your homeowner's policy covers drone use or whether you need some kind of new policy that presently doesn't exist. But don't fly your drone without some kind of coverage. All of which brings us to the parlous world of drones. Parlous, you ask? What is parlous? Here's what Mr. Webster said in his dictionary. An old form of perilous, extremely, very, dangerously clever, mischievous, shrewd. Those are nuances that go very nicely with the current state of drone life around the world. The reason we're using parlous is because all the names we wanted to use have already been used by somebody else. Drone Zone, Drones Across America, The Wonderful World of Drones, Game of Drones. If you happen to be one of the bad guys, a terrorist with Al-Qaeda or ISIS, it's a parlous world indeed. With the pinpoint accuracy of satellite surveillance from 23,000 miles up, it's become almost easy to find the target, the terrorist target, and hit him with Hellfire missiles. But collateral damage has become an important part of this kind of warfare. That is the killing of civilians when the terrorist is targeted. This has resulted in large-scale demonstrations against continued use of drone warfare. This whole philosophy and concept was dealt with in great detail in a British movie, Eye in the Sky, and we can commend your viewing it. ISIS has not been content to just sit there as a target. It's been using drones purchased at retail for 4 or 5 years for reconnaissance purposes, and just recently has started arming its drones and using them as kamikaze-type weapons, with the death of 2 Kurdish soldiers and the critical wounding of a French officer who was standing with them. Their first crude experiment with a missile fired from a drone took out a coalition armored vehicle, which may very well be a prelude to the use of ISIS armed drones for terror activities in Europe and the US. So far, luck has been a saving grace for droners, as in the case of the big wheel strike in Seattle on November the 11th, 2015. At 4:30 in the afternoon, the drone came flying through the air in a no-fly zone, struck the wheel, and fell to earth where it landed on an outdoor restaurant picnic table and left a basketball-sized hole. Fortunately, no one was injured on the wheel, and the restaurant happened to be closed that day, but the potential for damage to person and property was quite huge. Seattle was also the site of a near tragedy on June 15, 2015, when a woman watching a parade in downtown Seattle was struck on the head when a drone fell from the sky. She was laid up for many, many months with hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills. Diners at Seattle's iconic Space Needle have also complained from time to time that looking up from their meals, they found themselves staring into the lens of a nosy drone. The Space Needle has been hit on 3 occasions by errant drones which landed on the roof, the most recent being January 10, 2017, but the pilots have never been found. On January 3, 2016, a not-so-big drone caused a very big problem in Bernal Heights, San Francisco, bringing down a whole block of power lines which put several thousand people in the dark. The same thing happened in West Hollywood to the south on November 15, 2015, when a drone brought down another block of power lines and put some 80,000 people in the dark. On the other side of the continent, on June 25, 2016, a Canadian woman was hit on the head by a Phantom 3 drone. Fortunately, her injuries were less severe than the victim in Seattle. During a wedding reception at a beautiful lakeside resort in Windham, New Hampshire, 2 women on a dance floor were struck by a falling drone. It belonged to the groom, though he wasn't flying it at the time, and they have subsequently filed suit against him for what they claim to be long-term injuries. A drone being used to gather footage at the Empire State Building struck a mid-level floor and fell to a ledge on a much lower level. Its pilot was arrested for public endangerment, fined $200 and given some community service. But had the wrecked drone fallen to the 34th Street sidewalk, we might have had some serious injuries there. On February 25th, 2017, a GoPro Karma camera drone weighing 2.2 pounds and flying about 35 miles an hour smashed through the 27th floor window of an apartment building and landed at the feet of the occupant. Just to show that errant drones are no respecter of persons or places, one struck a tree on the White House lawn on March 15, 2015, and fell to earth. It wasn't armed, but it could have been, because in 1997, the Disney Studios released a movie, The Shadow Conspiracy, about an assassination attempt on the President of the United States, and the weapon of choice was a drone. In anticipation of this menace, the Pentagon has established a special unit known as Department 13, which is developing anti-drone strategies. In North Dakota, sheriff's deputies in Morton County encountered the shape of things to come in November 2016 when surveying a demonstration against an oil pipeline from the chopper. They saw a drone approaching them in what they thought was a menacing fashion and fired upon it. They didn't hit it, and it was taken down immediately, and they never found out who was flying it. In the always tense Middle East, Iran has been having its own problems with unidentified aerial vehicles. Camera drones have intruded into forbidden airspace in the center of Tehran, where the government offices are located, and the Iranians counter them by using anti-aircraft guns mounted on tall buildings. They haven't hit any, and they haven't found out who's flying them. As a natural outgrowth of the booming world of recreational drones, drone racing has caught on all over the world, and it has literally become the frontier of drone science as young men build their own craft that can go up to as much as 100 miles an hour. Thanks to the Drone Racing League, DRL, the sport is lining up with the big boys and is seen on major sports channels. This is the pilot's eye view from his craft. Wow, this was fun. We got to do this again.